I would say if you can, just make somebody comfortable on the floor. Go as far as making a cup of tea. Obviously try and keep them private. I don't know if you have any screens, but if you can, sort of a bit of privacy. Because what tends to happen is people flap, and then there's this quick, got to get them up, got to get them up. Actually, far better to just take your time, let your heart rate go back to normal, let their heart rate go back to normal, keep them private, and then from then on, see if you can have a cup of tea and then think about how you're going to do it. There is a correct way of getting someone back off the floor if they can manage it, okay? If they are going to require manual assistance in your circumstances as volunteers, we would recommend that you called an ambulance to help get them back up. If they can't do it with minimal assistance, and really that we're talking just guidance, verbal guidance and a little bit of showing where to go, no actual manual handling, we would say call an ambulance. Doesn't instantly mean a hospital attendance. If they're okay and they can mobilise afterwards and they don't want to go, the ambulance don't have to bring them to hospital. But then they've made that judgment as to what's safe for you and for the individual. The arm isn't a handle and the arm is actually quite vulnerable. So we do recommend people aren't handled by the arm. And again, if they go down, you're likely to pull the arm, and under the shoulder is a very vulnerable area. So we don't really advocate handling by the arms, although that's where most people go. Yes. And actually in hospital, any manual handling under the arms, you will see it sadly, it has been banned for years, 30, 40 years, because obviously there is a huge number of nerve roots under here, and you don't know someone's pathology. Anyone who has rheumatoid arthritis will be particularly vulnerable to any problems of handling under the arm. But equally, any vulnerable, you see some people with very, very frail, they've not got a lot of bony cover on them at all, muscle cover on them at all. They're very vulnerable to having shoulder injuries as a result of poor handling. Sometimes you could facilitate someone out of the chair, not like this, because that's if you're pulling up and their legs don't take it, you're pulling one way, they're going the other. Equal to shoulder injury very easily. Yeah, so that's why we say don't do it. For those patients, again, that's where pushing up on arms is easier, because they're at least able to give you a little bit more help. But otherwise, you get someone to the front of the chair, so you move right to the front of the chair. You come to the front of the chair, because if your bottom is right at the back of the chair, it usually makes it much more difficult for somebody to stand. So bring them forward in the front of the chair. You're going to get clues about the people who will and won't have problems by how they move forward in a chair. People who struggle with their mobility tend to be a bit stuck here. They're kind of like that in the chair. And you will often see them do that movement. Yeah? Any of your clients that do that, you can tell that they're going to have more problems in sitting to standing. If I were to ask Alix to stand, she needed a little bit of assistance. Again, pop your hands onto the chair there. So we're going to ask Alix to help stand herself. So Alix, we're going to do ready, steady and stand. Okay, and I know that she's needing a little bit of, I'm not going to say big help, but a little bit of a prompt. Okay, so ready, steady and stand. I will put my hand to her back. Yeah, not under the arm. So at least there. And if you need to sort of give someone a bit of support, we sort of say, stay here, a bit rugby tacklish.
Can you put your other arm on or not?
My other arm, if you turn around, is across the road.
The position you'd adopt for walking out, though?
I would get her to put a hand on there.
Oh, that's fine.
Don't do thumb to, if you're using your thumb, don't grip. And they all want to grip, yeah? Again, the reason being, if they go, they're going to tighten their grip and you can't let go. So just do sort of, just pop palm to palm, so that you put that hand there. And then if you notice where my arm is, it's tucked in at my elbow, so I've got a little bit of support on my elbow, so that I've got something to lean on. So she's not, if she put a lot of weight on, she can keep pressing down, but my arm's wedged. Whereas if I don't press down, then I'm going to go with her and my posture will start to go down. If you start to fall, your instinct will be grip by your side. So if I were to fall, I would grip, and that would bring Alex in with me, and she can't get away.
Yeah.
So that's why we say, be able to, if she, like, try and fall now, I'm going to go. Yeah, I can get away from her. And yeah, I know that seems awful, but that safeguards all of you. Floor, if you've got someone on the floor, like I said, try and get the privacy first of all. So if you haven't got any screens, maybe a set of screens sometimes might be nice, just to be able to, because everyone's looking round, aren't they? All the other people here start getting upset, and they're all trying to get in there, but we would advocate, you know, stay down there. Make them comfortable, get a blanket, get a cushion, make them comfortable there, and give you all yourselves all time to think. Yeah, you need to check if they're injured first of all, because if there's any hint that they may be injured, then probably getting them up is not a good idea. Then you really do need the medical help. If they're able to roll onto something softer, that would perhaps just reduce any risk of them getting any pressure sore, because this is really hard floor, it's not carpet, is it? Right. They never fall in the right place for a start. So it depends where they've fallen. Is there space for them to move? Your ideal is you want to try and see if they're on the back first of all, you're wanting to try and get them onto their knees. Okay? So if they're okay, they've been okay, can you get them onto their knees? So you want them to try and roll. So to roll, get both knees flat on the floor, get the arms over there, bring the other arm over, turn the head the way you want to go, and then just try and get them to reach over to come onto the side. If they can't do this, and you're really struggling, then you're going to have to call help. It's only if they can do this. Right, so you're getting them onto there, then you're going to get that hand, and you want them to push with that hand to bring the other one through. You can stop any point on the way. This doesn't have to be done in one movement, it can be slow. So coming onto their arms, then from there, you're wanting them to push through your arms to come onto knees. Shall I turn around so you can see me that way round? Okay, so you're coming round onto knees. Now this again, your nice cushion there. A lot of you people have sore knees and they don't like to kneel down and it's uncomfortable. So you want to get them onto knees, and if you can, get a cushion underneath their knees. If someone's got a wheelchair, cushion off the wheelchair just to put something there, just to make sure they've got something. Alex, if I put the chair this way. So we're looking at getting to a chair, okay? So we want our hands going onto the chair. And in this instance, with your lighter chairs, we would be looking for someone to be behind. I'd be all right, but another individual, they might start doing that, yeah? Ideally, if it's up against the wall, it ain't going anywhere. If you're standing there, get right into it so your weight's right behind it, and then you're not going to hurt your posture. So you're wanting to come right up to the chair, okay? Now with their best leg. Yep. I don't say your good leg, because most of them say, I haven't got a good leg. Your best leg, your strongest leg, you're wanting to bring that forwards, and from there you're pushing on your best leg and your arms to come up. We usually say here just to wait there for a second. Someone who's been on the floor, getting up, they often go a bit light-headed. So from there, you've two options. Someone else can put a chair behind.
Can someone be...
Or you could turn around. Yeah. And I would suspect here you would have more than one person sort of supervising that Getting someone up from the floor is one of the most hazardous tasks because of the position you have to get into to get them up. Yeah? So the most I would do is provide her with support around her hips here. Okay? And again, just push up.
That's really good.
Push through there. And then I would just stay with her here, because this is where she might feel a bit lightheaded. Yeah?
A bit
Yeah.
dizzy there. Just take it.
Especially if they've been on the floor. And then sort of turn around. Okay.
There you are. Nice and safe.
If it's in the home environment, sometimes we say, if they've got a set of stairs, if they're falling in the hall and they're by a set of stairs, some people can manage to sort of bum shuffle to the bottom step, go up one, and then bum shuffle up the next one, and then they've got the handrail, and they can put their feet on the floor and they can get themselves up from there. Do you think about how you're going to help somebody off the floor? You know, the classic is, come here. Well, just look at the posture, and I've bent my knees, but you can't really help somebody back up. And also, she's trying to get onto her feet. Her feet will start sliding away from you on this floor. So I would say, no, if they can't roll and they can't get up, don't do it. In the hospital, they're told to hoist everybody off the floor. Everybody is hoisted off the floor.
Two levels with pendant alarms now. You've got to monitor and response. So some people might just be on the monitor when you press the pendant alarm, goes through to the call centre as usual. Oh, Mrs. Jones, are you all right? You had a fall? No, you need some help. They then will notify a key holder or whatever, someone who's been nominated by the person themselves, and they will come round. If it's a monitor and response, then that's where they will send one of their own people round to come and help get that person up.
Everyone has to pay now, and we've come across a few people who've sent their pendant alarms back or reduced the service that they're getting.
Or won't have one at all.
Or won't have one at all.
How much do they have to pay?
Just for that monitoring option, it's about £2.80 a week. And for the monitoring response, it's about £4.80 a week.
Cautions for a hip replacement are about 12 weeks. Now, if you've got someone with a hip replacement on the floor, I'd definitely call an ambulance, because you would, in getting up, you could easily, The things to avoid for people who've had a hip replacement is sitting down too low. It's bending the knee past 90, so it's doing that, yeah? So you don't want them doing that. They are taught not to cross the legs, but again, a lot of us are habitual creatures, and if you've always crossed your leg like that, you often go and do it. So crossing legs is one thing they're told not to do. So don't bend the knee past 90. Now, people sometimes forget, you stand up and do that, you're doing the same thing. So, yeah, they might say, oh, I can't do that, but then they'll go and do that. So it's bending either way, down, top down, or leg up, either way. So be wary of that. Turning the foot in, so if you've got someone who does a twist, that again, it's that rotation in that can cause a problem, so you don't want them doing that. And you don't want them crossing the leg that way. I mean, most people don't walk like that, but it is the risk. So that's why crossing the legs is important. So it's what we call adduction, going that way. It's bending the knee, and it's turning the foot in. Those are the things to avoid. Yeah, you definitely want a decent high chair. And quite often when they come out of hospital, they have a high seat chair, and they have a raised toilet seat, and they have everything there, and then they'll come here, and you might not have a raised toilet seat. So 12 weeks is the time, as long